So we live in a world where we keep battling to try find symmetry, but the news is that we're not actually symmetrical beings on the inside. So why do we have this fascination with trying to be symmetrical on the outside? Today we're going to look at a reformer sequence where we're just going to be doing opposite sides all the time so that you can have an awareness of how your body is going. It's always important to remember that you do have imbalances, and that's a very normal way to be. So we're going to start in a lying down position. I'm going to put on the equivalent of 2 springs, and I've got my headrest all the way lifted. Now, if you need to have extra head support to make sure that your head is in a good balanced position with the rest of your spine, then go ahead and get a towel or a cushion or something to support you. The other option is, of course, you could take your hand behind your head and hold your head in that orientation. So whatever feels the most comfortable for you. And we're going to begin with your foot onto the foot bar, so toe to heel. So this is our normal footwork series, but we're doing it inside lying. So when you're ready, we're going to be pressing all the way out to a nice straight long leg and then bending the knee to come back again. So we're just going to work into a round of 5. Remember, you can always do more if you want to, but the rhythm is not too fast, it's not too slow. I want to make sure that you're feeling your toe all the way towards your heel in contact with the bar. Hold the next one out and then spin so you're on your heel toes to the sky. So when you bend, your knees now more aimed towards the ceiling. So as we do this, we want to make sure that you haven't rolled your hips back, but that you're facing the hip bone still forward and the knee out on an angle. So, I struggle counting to 5, so I think we have 1 more to go. And once you're there, we'll come all the way back in again. So for safety, to change position down onto the toes, still keep the angle of the knee open, and then slide out and hold your position here. We're going to drop the heel and lift the heel. So we're used to doing drops and lifts in a parallel position. So this is going to feel a little different as you do your move. 2 more. And then last one, and then traveling all the way back in. To finish the sequence, we're going to send the knee down. You're going to move your foot further back. Now, it'll depend on how your knee is, the range of movement you have. Your heel will be lifted away from the bar as we begin. As you press out, you're going to put your heel onto the bar surface, getting a nice opening through the front of your thigh, and then coming in and peel the heel off. So really see if you can get that sense of peeling off. So the heel comes off up onto the toes and then down into the knee bend, and then straightening the leg, lowering the heel on. And I say rather peel than just hinging off and on, so that you can really feel the different joints of your foot muscles and bones getting their workout as they need to. And then bringing yourself all the way back again. From here, we're just going to flip over and repeat on the other side. Now, I like to do these things in going from one side to the other and then back again, because it's part of how you're going to move through. So again, we've got our foot to heel position or toes to heel, and then when you're ready, pressing out. Now with this first one, just push a little extra into the foot so you can feel the 2 sides of your waist lengthening, and then from there going into the knee bend. So keeping the level of your leg nice and even, and again, just watching how your hip is behaving, that you don't want to feel like you're jamming up into the top of the area between your ribs and your pelvis. Hold your position here, spin onto the heel, and then we're bending the knee and straightening the knee. So the alignment is pretty important on how you are balanced in the center of the carriage. You don't want to feel like you're too pushed up into the shoulder block. And then 1 more time, all the way out. And then traveling it back in, we go down onto the toe, keep the angle of the leg, and then press away, hold that shape, and then we're going 5 drops and lifts. So as you're doing this movement, you want to feel all that foot action that I was mentioning before, and strength through the calves, and coming back in again. We'll slide back into parallel, pushing the foot back a little further, and then pressing out and lowering the heel on the bar. So because we've already changed our direction, what you're going to notice is, do you feel the same? Does it feel different on this leg? How does it feel different? Remember, as I said, we are different on the 2 sides, but it's important to really notice what it is that's going on, not because you're wrong or bad, it just is, how is your body responding? and then coming in, and we're going to press ourselves up from there. From here, we're going to turn over and we're going to change our spring so that we're onto maybe about a half, a 3/4, or something like that. So I've got on mine just a blue spring, and then I'm going to lie all the way back down again onto my back body. So from here, I'm going to send my right arm towards the ceiling, holding onto the strap, and then bringing the legs up into the air. Send the left arm towards the ceiling. So one is strapped, one is not. Pull the arm down to your side, and then as it floats up, let the left arm come down. And again, pulling right arm into the strap tension, and then left arm down. So even though you've got uneven surfaces that you're holding or uneven tensions, you're still doing your best to try and balance your body as you do this action. Hold your arm down at your side. You're going to start to bend the right elbow and straighten it out long. So as we do that, just nice, simple, with your left arm up towards the ceiling, folding at the elbow, lengthening at the elbow. We've got 2 more to go. And final one, straightening the arm and then bringing the arms back to the ceiling. Now we work them together in a circle. They go down, they open out around and back to the top. Now, because you've got the tension on one side of you, make sure that you are feeling coordinated in that shoulder area. I feel just a bit of a wobble as I bring my arm through the center. One more time around. And then we pause at the top and you change your direction out. So this is a lot more challenging for me as I take my arm away and then draw in towards the body. I can feel my lower body wanting to shift out to the side to compensate for that movement. And compensation is not a bad thing necessarily, because your body is always looking out for the best for you. Last one, bringing it all the way in and then bringing it back. So we'll tap toes down, switching sides, so hang up the right, and then lifting up into the left. So 2 arms straight up towards the ceiling, legs coming up, and we start with the left arm traveling and then the right arm lowering. So with this one, you just want to be mindful that as you bring your arm back, you don't let it go too far behind you and let the stopper come in. So you still have to think, where is my arm? Where is my shoulder? Where are the two fitting together? On the next one, we'll keep the left arm down, the right arm up, and then we're going to add in the bend and the stretch. So the ideal position will be with your elbow just off of the mat, as long as you don't produce tension into the top of your neck and shoulder. If you need to, you can always lower the elbow down onto the mat and do your bend and stretch from there. Bringing both arms back up to the ceiling, and let's take it into our circles, lower, around, and back up. Now I can really tell that this side is going to be more challenging for me to control, because that lower body again wants to do that swinging out to support in my upper body. 4, and then one more time around. So as fun as it is to go this way, it's going to be a little bit more challenging as I pull in and circle around. And again, my range is going to be different on this side because I have to work to make sure that I don't slip and slide off of the carriage surface. This is 4, and then we have one more time circling it around and bringing it all the way back up again. Beautiful. From here, we're going to hang that strap up. I'm going to keep the same strap setting that I have, which is the blue spring. So it's about a 3/4 spring, and then coming into my side lie shape again. So this time I'm going to do sending my leg out, and top foot is going to go into the strap. So these are movements that you know so well from, lying on your back feet in straps. It's a constant for everyone, but it feels so different. We're in the side lying. So remember where we were when we first started pushing the leg out. That's where we want to be again. So you can put your hand on your hip, making sure you've got a good steady line through the waist. And we're going to start with just a little motion up and down. So as we're taking the leg up, you want to make sure that you're not shortening at the top side of your waist, so that you can really work the side leg muscles, which is what we're after. And then one more time, and we bring it back to center. We're going to fold that knee forward. I want you to feel like you can catch the strap with the front of your shin or your knee, and then press your leg back to your starting point. And repeating, pulling the knee in, and then sending the leg away. So the lighter the spring, sometimes the more challenging. So heavy is not always better. And especially when you're focusing on the form and function that's happening at the joint. So again, I apologize if I've gone beyond or have missed out on a rep. And we're going to take it into circles. So just moving around. Now, if I had to look down, I want to make sure that my foot is going both sort of above the bar and below the bar in terms of its circle direction. So it's not overly big, but it's also not overly small. And then pause and switch. And again, keeping my foot facing forward is another challenge, just to include a little bit more of the outer hip muscles or the glute muscles. So I'm not necessarily working my leg in a turnout shape here. And then bringing everything back again, undo your strap. And then from there we go, rolling over to the other side and repeat. So you'll see the sequence from our footwork into our foot in the strap series is pretty similar. So we've got all that good alignment issues, stacking yourself up, hip, hip, shoulder, shoulder, ear, ear, and then away we go, raising up and down. So as I mentioned, doing these different sides, you do pick up the slight variances in your body, and it also highlights many things for you. I've got such an attentive instructor. And then we're going to bend that knee, travel it forwards, catching the loop, and then sending it back. So when you do bend your knee, you're watching that you're not tucking your tail underneath you. You're just keeping it at that right angle shape. These are standard moves that you would have done through any preparation kind of Pilates you've ever done before. 2 more. And then last one to the front and then back out in line with the foot bar. Here we go for our circles. So remember, they're not huge circles. They're just nice evens above and below the feeling of the foot bar. And then one more circle around, stop at the top, and then reverse the direction. And 2 more. And last one. And then bringing everything back in again, nice and smoothly out of the straps you go. From here, we're going to bring ourselves up into a sitting position, and we're going to change our springs again. So now we're going to change to about the equivalent of 3 red springs, or level 3. So as you lie down, this is a time to lower your headrest, because we're going to take ourselves into a bridging series. So with our bridging, if you've done bridging heaps of times before, you'll know what it feels like. But we're going to start with our left knee into tabletop shape. So right now my thigh is balanced over my hip. The minute I tilt my pelvis backward, my leg is going to start to come toward me because it's got to stay in the hip socket. So as you're rolling yourself up, aiming your knee not forward and up towards the ceiling in a vertical position, but keeping it in balance over the top of the hip. And then rolling the spine back down. Now, just so that we can make this a nice, easy, quick session, we're only going to do 3 of our bridges. So peeling up and lowering down. And the reason is because we've got many things to do in the bridge. And then last time, peeling it up. Now we're going to hold the position up here, and you're going to press away through your standing leg and then coming in. And again, lengthening out and returning, making sure that the pelvis is staying up away from the carriage. That's your 3rd one, and then we roll the spine back towards the mat. So we're going to repeat, but this time your leg is going to straighten for the ceiling. Now, if you can't get a straight leg, just go with the bent knee version again. And here we go, aiming your toe now more up directly towards the sky, and then lowering your body back down again. I always like to say, if you know that bridging feels better for you to just lift and lower the pelvis, then you can do that variation. If you enjoy the rolling one, then do that one. So last one, we're going to come up and we're going to hold the position here. Keep that leg nice and raised as we press out for 3 and away for 2. And final one, push out. 1, coming all the way back down, and then bend your knee, place your foot onto the bar. So same sequence to the other side, start with knee bend and rolling through. So with this movement, it's really important that you're not pushing backward already. So you want to keep that bed nice and close to the stopper as you allow your pelvis to lift and lower. And you should never feel like you're trying to go so high that you lose control of your foot placement. Pausing here, we're going to press out again, 3 only. Now, if your leg doesn't fully lengthen, guess what? You don't have to fully lengthen it. Just take it to where you can still challenge yourself and keep good form, and then rolling down. And now sending the leg up towards the ceiling, toe pointed high. And here we go, raising up into the air and then rolling down. So whenever we have a longer lever, then things can become a little bit more challenging simply because there's more weight attached to it. There's a little bit more sort of imbalance or potential for things to vary. Hold your position and then press out for 3. And again 2. And last time 1. And then bringing it all the way back and rolling yourself back towards the floor. Excellent work. From here, we're going to bring ourselves back up into sitting. And we're going to switch our springs one last time to add in our final version. So go back onto something like a half a spring setting. That could be maybe even a yellow for some people, could be a blue for others. And we're going to do a kneeling version facing this direction to begin. So you'll have your hands at one side of your reformer and your knees at the other side. I have a mirror so I can check that my form of my quadruped is good. I've got my shoulders and head higher than my tailbone, and I've got that natural curve in my lower back. I'm going to grab the strap that's at the front. I thread it between my 2 shoulder pads, and I'm going to bend into my support arm and reach in the direction of the foot bar, and then bringing myself up, lifting the elbow out to the side. And then again, sending myself through for an easy, gentle twist, and then bringing myself all the way back up. We've got 1 more to do like that. If you find it difficult to be balancing on your knees, place some pads or towels underneath your knees. And same goes with your wrist. You can always chalk up your wrist position if you need to. So we're going to grab that strap again. Sorry, I didn't mean to put it down. And we're going to switch into the other hand. So we're going to have that strap now in front of the supporting arm. And then from here, we're going to press that arm open to the side. Make sure your knuckles are facing away to the foot bar and your palm is facing down on the outstretch. And then bringing that arm across your midline. And then pushing it out and open. And then bringing it back and in. We have 1 more like that to go as we push it out to the side. And bringing it all the way back in. Let's hang that strap up, and now it's time for us to spin around and do the opposite way. So whatever way gets you there easiest. And then from this angle, we go again, knees at one side, hands at the other, and we go thread the needle. So checking in with your balance and your form, into the twist we go, and then bringing yourself upright again. Elbow lift high and down. You don't have to lift the elbow, but it's an extra little bonus as you bring your elbow high to keep the form, getting good work through your different shoulder joints and muscles. Switch your sides over, balance onto the front hand. The strap goes across the body, palm faces down, knuckles face away, and then bringing it through again. And again, leading the arm out and away and bringing it across. Last time as we take it out to the side and then bringing it all the way back in. All right, and from there, that will be our workout for today. Bear, of course, is delighted that we have finished because now he gets to be back on the lap. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had fun playing with 2 different sides, noticing any differences between them. As always, there's so many things that we can do in these asymmetrical moves. But I hope you still feel balanced after that. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in the next video soon. Bye.